All right, everybody. I'm live today. Going to be doing some questions that were sent to me through Inspire Christ on Twitter, and I am running a little late. Sorry about that. Big audience. Looks like I got Spartan in the audience only. Um, Feel free while we're going through these questions, if you have any clarifying questions you want to ask of me, just feel free to send them my way. Not going to be using my camera today as I've had to set up in a strange location inside my house. Not going to. And it's not going to be about me today anyway. It's going to be about the questions. So we're going to do some share screen and put the questions up on the computer and see what we've got going on. Hope I can figure this out with only one screen. All right, I hope everybody can see that okay. All right, that's the end of the questions. I don't need. Give me a second, I'm figuring this out as I go. Stop screen share. Right back. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back to slide 1. This is his 10 questions for atheist agnostics from a Christian. I'm going to start by saying I don't care which one you call me, atheist, agnostic. I think if we get philosophical on it, I would probably lean more towards agnostic than atheist most days, although some days I do feel like, gods are pretty much not possible. I've had some thoughts where I've dabbled into some atheism, and I'm trying to learn more into that and understand more into that to see if that's where my actual position is on that. So, with that said, let's start these questions. Can everybody hear me okay? It sound good? You're good on that? Spartan said it looks good, but that doesn't tell me about sound. All right, sound is good. Cool. All right, so question 1. What would your epistemic credence be that no God exists out of 0 to 100? 100 being certain none exist. Also, what would it be for a form of mere Christianity? I haven't read C.S. Lewis's book. I'm assuming that's where he's getting the mere Christianity from. Is that kind of basis? And so I would assume by mere Christianity he just means that Jesus rose from the dead, and that pays the debt for the sins, and the Yahweh God is the one true God. Um, as far as that goes, I would put that somewhere around, probably around a 10, maybe. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. 100 being certain that none exist. Then I'll probably be around 90% sure that somewhere between 85 and 90 that mere Christianity is not true. As far as for any God, I think most of the time I'm probably around 65% sure that there's not a God. Um, as I said, I mean, I kind of use the colloquial term of atheist, and I don't take offense to anybody that wants to claim that that's agnostic and not atheist. I don't want to fight over words. All right. Who are some of your favorite popular apologists or Christian philosophers? Um, this is this is going to be, I guess it would be like how you phrase the word popular. as far as popular apologists go, I've honestly I find a lot of the ones like apologists I'm not a big fan of. Scholars of the text I'm more a fan of. And if I don't really consider the scholars to be apologists, but there are some scholars who kind of take like an apologist kind of standpoint. Like, I know Spartan's in the chat, so like people like John Depew. I wouldn't consider him an apologist. I would consider him somebody who studies the text, and it's not a scholar. He doesn't have a a PhD in Christian studies, but he's somebody that understands the text and looks at them as their historical standpoint and tries to make positions for Christianity that way. Those are the people that I highly respect more than people who go out of their way to do things for the faith. I like Mark Goodacre. Uh, Follow him on Twitter. And engage with him on Twitter some. I don't know. I'm drawing blanks as far as that goes. As far as names go, um, I've listened to a lot of them, and just kind of having a blank on some names right now. Um, Also, which ones do you highly dislike and how they argue and or treat you? Um, Young Earth creation apologists, I don't like at all. People that completely disregard evidence, I'm completely against. People that uh, People that defend slavery in the Bible, I'm not fans of. Um, so it's uh, yeah, I would say I've been treated badly by any apologists. I don't really know any of them. A lot of people are fans of William Lane Craig. I'm not a huge fan of William Lane Craig. Uh, I think he's a decent philosopher. I think he argues about positions he doesn't understand a lot because he thinks that he can make a good argument with it. And those are some of the gray areas that I have issues with him in. All right, let's head to the next question. All of us as humans, Christians, atheists, agnostics, and everybody, has biases, desires, etc., that can potentially get in the way of truth seeking. What are you doing to combat that for yourself personally? Um, I think a big thing I'm doing about that personally is whenever I started my channel, one of the things I wanted to do was reach out to people of different religious faiths and even different people inside of those faiths, I guess denominations, so people that held different views inside those faiths to get a better understanding of what people in those positions All right. The disembodied mind and voice that is talking to you in your head should be back. I'm not sure exactly where we got to with that, but give me a second. I'm gonna have to pull my list, my questions back up because it went through and closed all my tabs. Got to the part where I said SJ is my favorite scholar. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, there's no lies being told there, Spartan. Great. Now telling me I can't open that. Jim, you can't unsubscribe. You're coming onto my channel later today. Okay. I just want to show y'all this so that y'all can see what I'm dealing with right now. Share screen. This is what I have. It's not letting me pull up my questions. So, you're just going to be stuck with my face. Well, not even my face. How y'all like that? Okay. Let me try doing this one more time, and if not, then I can just read the questions to y'all, and we can go from there. Y'all aren't reading them on the screen anyway, were y'all? Y'all were just listening to me read them to y'all? We were on the question of why is amateur exegete not a Satanist? I mean, that's the logical place to go when you leave Christianity. You said you weren't saying it. All right, so here we go. I got questions back up. I got it to work again. Yay me. Nobody cares. Gotcha. Okay. Can y'all see that okay? We good? Jim knows how to get to me. A hospitanist. All right. So we've got this one. We're gonna go to question 3. We're right here. All of us humans, Christians, atheists, agnostics, and everybody has biases, desires, etc. that can potentially get in the way of truth seeking. What are you doing to combat that for yourself personally? Um, so I dove into this and apparently I didn't have any sound and my computer decided to reset while I was in the middle of doing this. So for me, it's more of a I'm reaching out to the people who disagree with me on a regular basis, asking questions and things that I don't understand, and looking to find the information that I'm missing. When I started this channel, I started when I started this channel, I wanted to engage with people that I disagreed with in friendly and polite conversations to understand where they're coming from. That's why I've done interviews with Christians. I've had a rabbi on my channel. I've had a polytheist on my channel. I've had um, an agnostic on my channel. I've got Jim coming on later today to discuss some scholarship on the 70 weeks in Daniel 9. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing. I am just trying to engage with the positions out there that I don't understand so that I can get a better understanding. So, sort of sums it up. Um, On to the next one. If you were to choose a religion and denomination to follow, which one would you choose? Also, which one would you find the most likely, however improbable you think most religions are? So, if I was to choose a religion and denomination to follow, and we'll see, now that I'm thinking about this question, am I choosing it because like, which one do I think would be most likely, or which one do I want to follow? I guess if I'm just choosing which one I would want to follow, it would probably be a Methodist Christian because that's what I grew up with and that's what I understand the best. Um, and even within being a Methodist Christian, I could take some of the issues that I have with the Bible and just kind of work them out because we're not strict people like those Baptists or those young earth creationists. Um, which one do you find the most likely, however improbable, out of all the religions? Um, Out of the ones that I've looked into, I lean towards some forms of polytheism and Judaism, and maybe even polytheistic Judaism, as far as what I think are the most likely probabilities. And I'm just not convinced that any of those are actually true. If you're in the chat and you have any follow up questions for any of this or clarifying questions, feel free to ask. I haven't really read these questions. I'm a Christian, but want to be honest and truth seeking. So, who are your favorite atheist, agnostic YouTube channels, speakers, philosophers, historians, etc., that you would recommend me to listen to? What books would you suggest to me to read? Um, well, I mean, if we're going off the best atheist YouTube speaking philosopher historians, then obviously it is Dr. Robert Price and Dr. Richard Carrier. That is where you go if you want to learn anything about our position. So as far as YouTube channels, honestly, I think do I watch atheist YouTube channels? I watch the call-in shows from the ACA because they're good enjoyment. I don't find them as truth or great dictators of truth. I find them as enjoyment, and that's what I go to them for. Speakers and historians. I mean, I love listening to a Bart Ehrman speak. I like listening to Graham Oppie and Alex Malpass. I think what's his name? Joe Schmid. I like I'm trying to think. I watch Myth Vision a lot. Derek's doing some great things over there, bringing on some scholars to talk about some things. I don't watch all of this stuff. What books would you suggest for me to read? You know, anybody in this chat can agree with this because I've told them. Anybody that knows me, I have no clue as far as books go. I don't do reading. I need to do reading. It's something I'm trying to force myself to do. I have no drive to read. I just hate it and find it so blatantly boring. But it's something that I want to do. So, yeah, I tried doing all these Christian book giveaways on Twitter, but I never win a book. So, hey, if God wants me to get into reading better, then he'll let me win a free book about him. All right. All right. Number 6. If you figured out somehow that Christianity was true, would you worship God and become a Christian, or would you only intellectually assent to the truth of it, but decide not to worship God? Um, I, honestly, I'd have to say that I would probably just admit that there was a God and not worship him. Now, if God could clarify a bunch of the issues that I have and a lot of questions that I have, then I could probably get to the point of worship. But just knowing that it exists doesn't automatically determine that it's worthy of worship or that it needs to be worshipped. So, number 7. I know you think no arguments for God are persuasive, but which one are your favorites? Or which one do you think is the least worst and causes you to think more than the rest of them? Um, Probably some form of a cosmological argument, I think, is a decent argument for God. And the only reason I think that it works for me in a little bit of a direction is that infinites are just so hard for my brain to wrap around that the just the thought of an infinite thing just kind of like it kind of gets to me for a second, because infinite is a concept that is so hard to understand. You think you understand it, and then the more you dive into what it entails, it's just so hard to completely understand. Um, I watched a video the other week with Dr. Malpass was on Shannon Q's channel, and they were discussing infinites. And I even put a thing out on Twitter. I was like, "There's nothing makes you feel more stupid than listening to Alex Malpass explain philosophy of time at 9 o'clock in the morning." And so, yeah, infinites are just strange to me. They're a hard concept for me to understand and wrap my brain around. And I think that's why that one does such a thing for me. Number 8. What are some biblical, historical, or philosophical objections to Christianity or God that you think Christians need to focus more on? Which ones do you think are unaddressed or addressed really badly? So my first point on this would be, if you want to see some biblical objections to Christianity, 2:30 Eastern today, I'll be doing a discussion with Jim Majors on the 70 weeks prophecy of Daniel 9. So that's going to be a great place to look into some of that. Philosophical objections to Christianity, basically problem of evil, divine hiddenness. So, I mean, these are kind of, which ones do I think are unaddressed or addressed really badly? Jim, I'm aware Daniel wasn't written for Christians, but Christians claim that it was. So you're not going to win that argument, buddy. Christians say that it's their book. What do I think are unaddressed or addressed really badly? When I left Christianity, one of the first moves that I made was trying to understand the Old Testament. So I turned to listening to some Judaism and listening to some rabbis speak. And I think a lot of the positions that Jews can make, as far as arguments against the Christian New Testament, don't get addressed enough. It's mainly Christians having discussions about the existence of a God or the morality of a God with other non-believers, or just having conversations about different doctrines and denominations of the same beliefs. I told Caleb that last week or the week before that, last week, that he was talking about topics to discuss and to have more debates on. And my position to him, did my sound go out? No, good. Okay. And I told Caleb then, I was like, look, I said, one of the things I want to see is I want to see more Jews in debates. I think that there's a lot of Jewish positions that Christians can have a hard time arguing against. And just one of the things that I would like to see. Nine, do you believe in free will, compatibilism, or determinism? Or are you undecided at the moment? I would love if you could quickly explain your reasons for such a position. I'm undecided at the moment. I believe there's some form of free will. How far that goes, I'm not sure. I understand how determinism can be explained and understood. I believe I have free will. So even if determinism is what is true, the fact that I believe I have free will kind of pushes me in that direction. One of the positions I've never understood is the moist robot argument from Christians, where they say, oh, well, if there's no God, then you're just a moist robot and you have no free will. I don't understand how God is the only position that can determine a free will. And I asked Cy Tim Bruggencate that one day, and he never really answered me. Number 10. As an atheist, you are in no way obligated whatsoever to deeply look into any religion. But I'm wondering, if you have read any particular books in Christian philosophy, theology, or on the Bible that you enjoyed, despite disagreeing with the author on their particular religious views. Again, I don't read. Uh, I need to read more. There's several people in my chat right now that I asked to be part of. No, I'm sorry. There's one person in my chat right now who I asked to be part of a book club with me headed into the new year, and they never responded. And then I found out that they're in some kind of book club that they started after the first of the year. So, hey, way to go, Spartan! Way to help me get on that reading train there, buddy. But no, I need to read more, and there's several books that I would like to read. I just have no interest in reading. Thanks for listening to my questions. If you do respond, I will try to limit myself to one or two follow-up questions for clarification on one of your specific answers. Okay, so that's going to do it for all the questions. Yeah, Jim being funny guy in the chat keeps holding me up. Is there any clarifying questions from anybody or any questions from anybody in the chat? Salem was not able to make it. He did let me know on Twitter that he's going to take a look at it and get back to me if he's got any questions or needs any more information. Spartan Theology unsubscribed. I just got a notification that Spartan Theology unsubscribed from my YouTube channel. Dude, it's fine. I'm not going to get to 100 subs by my birthday in December, so it's whatever. Any, yes, these were IC's questions, amateur. He sent them out to a couple people. He put a thing on Twitter saying that he was going to do some questions and let him know if you wanted a copy of them, he'd send them to you. And he sent them to me. I said, would you mind if I did a video to it and kind of answered them, in live form? And he was like, man, do it. He's like, that'd be great. So Jim Majors, have you had an experience that could be considered religious or spiritual? I have had moments where I have thought God had, this was when I was a Christian. I had moments where I thought God specifically rearranged things in my day to put me in the position that I needed to be in to see and hear what I saw and heard. And that those were signs, and I've had great, overwhelming emotional experiences at those same situations. So that's something that I've had. If that's what you mean, then yes, I've had those. Did Spartan leave because he got called out? Any other questions? Sorry about getting started late today, guys. I was having some microphone problems and couldn't get it to work. Oh, Spartan is here. Spartan, I'm sure you've got a question for me, right? The Christian in the chat has got to have a question for the non-believer. Hey, I haven't seen him in the chat, so I don't think he's watching. But if anybody wants to stop by my live stream later today when I'm doing a talk with Jim Majors, Um, and put a question in the chat of when is Dr. Josh coming to talk about Satan in the Old Testament. That would be great because it's like this running joke that I have going on with Dr. Josh right now. Yes, like by participating in church and things like that. Was that about my experiences earlier, Spartan? Yeah. Had days where I didn't feel good and I was slow to get out of bed. And because I was slow to get out of bed, I had to change churches that day and ended up going to a church. And in that church, had a great message from the preacher that spoke directly to issues that me and my wife were going through at the moment. And, did like a powering job of humbling me at that situation. Yeah. Oh, if universalism were true, would I be a Christian, like participating in church and things like that? Yeah. Um, no, maybe, maybe if universalism was true, that would be one of the better aspects of Christianity that I would like to go to. But here's the big question, Spartan: What if universalism is true, but we have no way of knowing? Then what reason do I have to be a Christian? That's the question. Yeah, I think if I could be convinced that universalism is true, that would that would do part of it. Because in order for universalism to be true, there would have to be a God. So if I could get to the point that universalism was true, then I would already have the God belief, and that's two of the big steps right there. So I mean, that's almost like saying, hey, if you're a Christian, would you be a Christian? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess by definition. I do like the fact that Spartan's coming along to universalism. That's been a pretty good little journey to watch. If your parents love you unconditionally, it doesn't matter if you love them back. Come on, Jim, that's just no, it doesn't matter if I love them back. As a matter of fact, I love both of my kids unconditionally, and my kids could walk out of my life and have nothing to do with me ever again once they get to the age of moving out, and I would still love my kids unconditionally. Okay, so I guess that's what you're saying there, Spartan. I was reading, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. Okay, that makes sense now that I'm thinking about it as I said it. But what if what if my parents love me, but I don't even know that my parents exist? Do I? Looks like Spartan and Jim are just gonna have a fight out in the chat. I'm all for that. This is hard in YouTube chat. You want a link, Spartan? Is that what you want? Oh, by the way, Jim told me earlier today that he's not going to take any questions unless they're in limerick form. So I actually have one ready for you, Jim. I've got them ready for you question wise. So be prepared. All right. Nobody likes participation trophies, Jim. That's one way. I can't tell y'all what I got, but I got one. I got one. I got one ready to go. It may not fall precisely within the guidelines, but it's going to be close enough. I think Jim's going to let it pass. So, look, we all know that Jim Majors is just a simp for Dr. Josh. Okay? And amateur exegete is just a simp for the Jim Majors Dr. Josh love that they have. All right, Spartan, if you're going to come in later to the next stream at 2:30, so just over an hour and a half, gives me enough time to scarf down some lunch and finish up with notes. It's going to be based on the book of Daniel. So you've got to you got to have that ready to go there on the book of Daniel. Look, there's one from Jim Majors in the chat. Let's put it together. Let's put it together for everybody in the chat. There, let's see, where does it start? There once was a Christian named Paul who converted when Jesus did fall. His theology was crude, a bad attitude, but the churches loved it all. There you go. And yes, there was a book of Daniel. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it. It's in the Old Testament. It is the 7th book of the Old Testament. It is the oldest book in the Old Testament. It was written by a guy named Joseph. His middle name was Daniel, so that's why it's called Daniel. And he's bad at math. He can't even get his number pages right. Is that about it, Jim? Did I get it pretty good? Was that to me or to amateur Ben, Jim? It's obviously Genesis. Genesis was written by Adam. Did y'all know that? It was started by Adam, and then he passed it on to Abel, and Abel wrote a little bit in it, and then when Abel was killed by his brother, the book was buried, and nobody found it until Abraham discovered it. So that's the story of Genesis. Is this drunk Bible studies? I wonder if we put a thing together with me and Jim and amateur exegete and somebody else. We need four of us. We could all get together and get roundtable discussions and come up with all kinds of new theories for the Bible. And people would actually, I think we'd start entire conspiracy theories, and people would actually run with them and see new formations inside the church. All right, so we've been going for 48 minutes. Not quite, because there was a hiccup in there where my entire computer decided to reset itself for some unknown reason. And I've answered all the questions, and now we're just kind of goofing off in the chat. I need more people in the chat. That's what I need. Y'all spread this out. Like, I need y'all to spread my channel information like God spread plagues on Egypt. Okay? Let's do that. Y'all be my disciples. How's that? That's it. I don't have mods. I'm going to have what I call disciples. I'm going to have channel disciples instead of mods. That's what we're going to do. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and end this. I will see anybody that wants to show up. Hopefully I get a couple people here at 2:30 to do a discussion on 70 weeks in Daniel 9. And I hope Jim brings his atheist brain, because he's going to need it, because I've got some hard-hitting discussions for him. So see y'all back in about an hour and a half. Until then, I need a closing phrase. Like and subscribe. There we go, Jim. Good one to go. And we're out.